Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is Go Again, a fabulous video cast covering the trading card game Flesh and Blood. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Hey Fab folks, welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. I'm Andrew with you here as always, and thank you very much for joining me this evening. So something I like to do after a new set release, right now we're a couple weeks after Monarch has released. One of the things I like to do in this time period is kind of go back and start to look over everything again and try to identify cards that I may have dismissed on the first take, or really I undervalued, not understanding how the whole picture fit together. And one of those such cards is Beacon of Victory. So tonight I want to talk about Beacon of Victory, how I kind of missed the mark on that originally, and why I think it has a lot of value in Boltyn decks going forward. Hey folks, so thanks for tuning in again tonight. So it's been a spell for Fab content. Actually, what happened was Monday of this week, I was supposed to meet up with someone else and shoot some stuff, and theirs fell through, and then I got my COVID shot on Wednesday, and I was just a hot mess for like 36 hours after that happened as my second shot. So you have my apologies, but life happens. So, but yeah, we're back tonight, and we're rolling in it. So yeah, so Beacon of Victory. So what I want to talk about tonight is basically, what I'll start with is why I missed the mark, or why I under-evaluated Beacon of Victory, right? It's not that I just missed it. It's why I read it and I said, I don't think that's very good. And then of course we'll talk about why I was wrong and how it fits in. So Beacon of Victory is a light warrior attack react. It's a yellow pitch, by the way, which is really good for Boltyn. But as an additional cost to play Beacon of Victory, banish X cards from your hero's soul. X cannot be 0. Fair enough. Target attack gains +X. If you've charged this turn, search your deck for an action card with cost X or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Okay, so now let's put that into context of Boltyn, currently, of course, the only person who can use it. Remember, if you've charged this turn, right, so you have to have charged. If you've charged this turn, attacks you control have +1 while defended with an attack action card. But he has the always-on attack reaction, which is banish a card from Boltyn's soul, target attack with attack greater than its base, gains Go Again. Right, so functionally, on the very surface, we all understand, of course, how Beacon of Victory works, right? If you have something in a soul and you need to give it that, if you need to be able to give something Go Again, you can, pitch from Boltyn's soul and, give it the plus so that you can pitch it. Now, the reason on first pass that I didn't think this was worth an include was because kind of the straight, let's really think about the straight line of play on Boltyn, right? The straight line of play on Boltyn is play one of your allow you to charge cards, and then you charge. You hope that they defend so that you can chuck that card you just charged to give Go Again to something in your chain that turn, right? I mean, that like I said, that's the Boltyn 101. Right? And that's why when I was looking at this for the first time, I was just like, well, I don't see how Beacon of Victory is useful, because if I'm using that card to charge Beacon of Victory, then I don't have anything that I can use with Boltyn to give Go Again. Right? And I think fundamentally that holds if everything goes right all the time. Right? So and that's where we move into the why Beacon of Victory is actually useful, and why I'm going to be trying to use it going forward is in all of the games I've played with Boltyn, you do have turns where you end up with a card in soul, right? He plays plenty of cards, even just the generic light cards like Illuminate and Rising Solar Tide, right? If they hit, they go into your soul. He also has other cards where there's Express Lightning, Bolting Blade is really, I'm sorry, not Bolting Blade. It's the, hold on, I'll scroll down to it. it is Bolt of Courage. Sorry, right? Yeah, Bolt of Courage, right? That's the one where if you charge, it hits, but you just throw it down as a 0 and you can charge. And then they have to decide whether they block it or not, right? But the idea is here that there's a lot of your off turns that end up putting a card, or where you have the opportunity to end up putting a card in your soul and it doesn't get used. And if you recall, actually, on my Bolton deck tech that I did a couple weeks back, which we'll be updating, by the way. But on that, we had talked about how we were actually looking at running Celestial Beatdown because you did end up with cards in your soul, right? And I think that functionally, right, again, it's one of those, like, once you actually get boots on the ground and you start getting reps with these guys, it's one of these things that actually really changes the environment. And then it makes sense completely why you would want to consider running a Beacon of Victory for that very reason is, again, it's extra cards in your soul. And I'm not even talking so much trying to burn it for the, like, oh, I have 3 cards in my soul, let's pump it by 3. That's actually not where I'm going here. What you want to do, I think, is just use it for that +1 on those basic cards like a Bolting Blade, right? So you throw out a Bolting Blade, hell, even the blue Bolting Blade, right? Throw out a blue Bolting Blade, you charge, and then Beacon of Victory is essentially a card free, right? Assuming you already have at least one in your soul when you start your turn. Beacon of Victory is essentially a free card because it can pull you one when you charge, right? So overall, it doesn't change, really your hand state overall or anything like that. What it does is it lets you go pull even some of the simple stuff. I mean, Battlefield Blitz is kind of the key one you would want to pull there. But remember, Beacon of Victory, it lets you pull an action card. It lets you pull an action card with extra less. So even if you are on like a turn where you didn't have anything to pitch, you could go pull your Illuminates or an Express Lightning or something like that, right? You could go pull a 0. So, while obviously, like I mentioned, a Battlefield Blitz, or, maybe you're not playing the Raiden version, like a Raiden version, I think you definitely want to go Battlefield Blitz, especially if you're able to charge. But you could always pull a Valiant Thrust, or like I said, even in the bad case scenario where you're throwing out a Bolt of Courage, you don't have a card free to pitch, you can still, throw out one of your 0 for 4s. And I think, I don't know if there's much more to say to that. Like it's really, really functional because it's a net neutral card, right? And again, the argument's there that you don't have the opportunity to use it, except that in almost every, in every functional game that I've played, I have had cards in the soul that would have been able to be used on this, right? So now maybe there's an argument to be made that you don't run Beacon of Victory and Celestial Beatdown in the same deck, right? Because they're both basically trying to charge the soul, charge up the soul, whatever. They're both trying to do the same thing, I guess, in terms of that. So maybe you make that option there. But being able to go in and tutor flexibly what you need at that moment, I think is what makes Beacon of Victory very, very, very strong, right? So like I said, I think most of the time you're just using it for the 1 charge. Or just not the 1 charge. You're using it for the +1, right? You're not necessarily going to just blow everything. But all you're really trying to do is get it over the top so that you can bolt in and then go to town, right? And you turned what would have otherwise been a subpar turn into a potentially really, really good turn, right? So anyway, that's pretty much it about the card. We can't spend too much time just talking about one single card, but I really do, like I said, I like to go back from time to time and kind of rerun through everything and put everything in context based on what we've seen. And this is definitely one of those cards that I didn't give enough credit when I first rolled it. So we'll be figuring out how to fit it into my Bolton deck, which we're going to do an updated deck tech for very shortly. So again, thank you guys very much for joining me. Again, join the conversation. Let me know your feedback. What do you think about the card? Have you had a chance to use it? Obviously, guys, I already said I missed it, so you don't need to call me a dum-dum, right? But let me know what other examples you've used it in. Maybe you've been able to get a +4 on it because you had a huge soul. Let me hear the war stories. Anyway, thanks folks for joining me. If nothing else, folks, go Commando.